Okay, so thank you. So today I'm going to present Forwards. So Forwards is a R Foundation task force on women and other underrepresented groups. So it was set up in 2015 to address the underrepresentation of women in the R community because there is a gender gap in both users and developers. And then it was rebranded in 2017 to accommodate more underrepresented groups, LGBT, minority, ethnic groups, and people with disabilities. So the aim of the task force is really to identify groups that are underrepresented in the community and to stimulate ideas and take actions to widen their participation. So we have a website where you can find the description of our activities, and I invite you to follow us on Twitter, and we have also a Facebook account. So the task force is organized as core members, and we are currently 15 members. So most of them are here and are at user this year. And we have also a number of sub-teams that focus on specific tasks. So each sub-team has 2 or 3 main leaders and regular members. So for instance, the teaching sub-team is focused on collecting and gathering materials and organizing targeted workshops. The conference sub-team focuses on encouraging program and organizing committees to have diversity initiatives such as diversity scholarships, to have room for mother, childcare. And this year, the conference sub-team has organized the meet and greet with the diversity scholars on Monday evening, and also the newbie session on Monday evening. We have also suggested to have conference buddies for the conference, so with red and black badge. So today I'm going to describe more the activities of the survey sub-team. So the aim of this sub-team is really to collect and monitor data and to run and analyze surveys to better know the community. So we would like, for instance, to know if there are some obstacles that prevent some people to develop packages and how we can do to have a community which is more inclusive and more welcoming. So when you look at these plots, in fact, if we can see, it's not very clear, but it's the percentage of women at Use R conferences. So we can see that the percentage of committee members slowly increased to reach parity in 2016 and 2017. And this can be seen as a result of the recommendation of the conference sub-team. So concerning the number of invited speakers, in the same way, we have slightly increased. And then concerning the participants, as it was mentioned, in 2016 we had, I think it was 28% of the participants were women in comparison to 20% in 2015. And the proportion of speakers is often very close to the proportion of attendees, with, in 2016, more women presenting posters and giving lightning talks. So unfortunately, I do not have the numbers for this year, but we will see how it is. So the idea is really to have at least numbers which are comparable to the numbers that you can get in computer science or also in natural science for users and developers. Because indeed, for the developers, we have 11% of women, in fact, who maintain packages. So to better know the community, to know the opinions, the demographic, and the experience of the community, we also run surveys. And to start, we started with the participants of the Use R conference. So last year, we ran a survey, and we asked 26 questions, and we get 455 answers over the 900 participants. So we asked questions related to the demographic, So gender, age, education, employment, and so on. And also regarding to R programming. So for instance, how long have you been using R? Did you have previous programming experience before R? How do you use R? So do you use R by contributing to packages, by writing function, by writing code, just by using available packages or using available functions? Do you use R for your job or for your pleasure? Do you think R is fun? Would you recommend it? And what are your arguments also against or for R? So then we also ask a number of questions related to their involvement in the R community. And I will come back to these questions. So the analysis of this survey, all the analyses can be found on our website. So we had blog posts, 3 blog posts, mapping user relationship with R, participation in the R community. We also have some reports, and an R journal paper is going to be released very soon, maybe next week. So I'm just going to show you a few results about this survey and what we learn with this survey. So there are really plenty of results, so I encourage you to have a look at our website. So concerning the general findings, the survey shows that the participants were young, with women younger than men. Also, so it's not so unexpected, we have users which are quite experienced, with 83% of participants, for the people who answer the survey, who have worked with R for more than 2 years. So then, the survey also shows that the participants were mainly men and mainly white. And I think that this underrepresentation of this non-white population was quite striking for us. So then I had 2 pictures, but it's not, I think that I have a small issue with my presentation, which shows the relationship with R, and which just shows that, in fact, as expected, many participants have a positive view of R and would recommend it to use R to their friends and colleagues, and especially for statistical analysis. So they also find that R is very fun. So after the analysis, the univariate analysis and the bivariate analysis, we also perform a multivariate analysis, namely using a multiple correspondence analysis. So this can be seen as a counterpart of PCA, but for categorical data. So this is a dimensionality reduction method which aims at summarizing and exploring and visualizing the data. And the aim is to study the similarity between the respondent from a multidimensional point of view, so with respect to all the variables, and also to study the relationship between the variables and to characterize the participants using, of course, the variables. So because the core of multiple correspondence analysis is a weighted PCA on the indicator matrix of dummy variables, we also get graphical outputs. And these graphical outputs represent the proximity between the categories. So unfortunately, it seems very fuzzy. I guess it's difficult to read. So I will try to guide you as well as possible. So it reads as follows. 2 categories are close when the individual who have selected the first category have also selected the other category. So here I have a proximity between the question 11 and 14, and it was between the people who do not answer this question. So it just means that when someone do not answer question 11, he does not answer as well question 14. So what is interesting, so this is the MCA was performed on the R programming questions, is that we have a gradient with on the right, the people who have started to use R very recently, so less than 6 months, 1 of 2 years, and on the left, people who have worked with R since most than 10 years. So the practices are related to the experience, and so we can see that the people with most than 10 years of experience are often people who have written their own packages, while this is not the case for intermediate and beginners, which makes sense. So on here, in fact, I can see the people who have released packages, yes, contributed to packages, yes, writing packages, yes, and the intermediate participants have not yet written their packages, but they have written their own functions. And the beginners are just using codes and available packages. So this makes sense. So then, after studying the relationship between this programming question, we are interested in knowing how this dimension of variability are related to the demographics. So in other words, we would like to know who are the beginners and who are the experienced users. And to do that, I have projected the demographics variables as supplementary elements on my multiple correspondence analysis graph. And this highlights the fact that experienced users are more likely men with a doctorate and working in academia, whereas inexperienced users are more likely women working in industry. So after this multiple correspondence analysis, we perform a hierarchical clustering on the components, and to wrap up the results, we get this 3 cluster: experienced user, more than 10 years of experience, write their package, mainly main, academic with doctorate. They also use R both for their job and their pleasure. And the intermediate user, most women from industry, and they use R mainly for their job. A small cluster also of completely beginners. They do not have any opinion which is already formed, and they are just discovering R. So if you remember, we have said that men are more highly represented than women among the advanced users, but because we have seen that women are younger in comparison to men, we can wonder if this is not completely due to the age. So to have more insight into these possible confounding effects, we created a variable age times gender. And it also highlights that, in fact, men were on the top of this graph, so it means that they were the more experimented user, even after taking into account this age effect. So I'm going to go very quickly, because we did exactly the same thing, the same analysis on the community questions. And on these community questions, we highlight 2 main clusters: people who feel part of the community, who feel part of the community, who do not participate a lot to our user groups meeting. They are not interested in having more workshops, online demos, and so on. They use Twitter as a medium for community news, and it was more men in academia with a doctorate. What was also interesting is that the second cluster was people who do not really feel part of the community. And a very positive point is that they would be super happy to participate more if they would have a user group, online support, but dedicated to them. So dedicated to them, it means from a geographical point of view or a demographical point of view. So this was nice. It was also interesting to see that they do not use Twitter. And this is an interesting point for the social sub-team, especially because we communicate a lot with Twitter, and many people were not so inclined to use it, not so, they say, okay, I'm using blogs, mailing lists, or other media. So if we want to reach this community, we also need to take this into account. So I'm going to, just to conclude, because we are running late. So to conclude, I will say that, of course, this survey was just a survey on the user attendees, so it's not representative of the whole R community. It's very difficult to exactly target what is the R community, and it's also highly dependent on the location. It was in Stanford, so we are not going to reach the same population because it was also expensive to go there and so on. So we are going to run another survey this year, so I would be glad if everybody would participate, so we will have more insights. The last question of the survey was to ask for ideas to improving the R community, and we get many ideas, and so we have a lot of work to do, and I would like to thank all the people who have participated to this analysis. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We have time for one very quick question.
Have you compared these results to those done by Stack Overflow? Because I know they had a similar survey.
Can you repeat the question?
No, I was asked if we have compared these results to the ones on Stack Overflow, and no, the answer is no. In fact, we should look at it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.